Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Wuthering Waves video. And it's been a long time, hasn't it? We're kind of done with Arknight's Enfield over here. That game is pretty much good to go on the content side because we're finished with it. And it's just in time for version 3.1. We've got Aemeath, her full kit reveal. And I've had a preview of this, guys. And this might be one of the longest kit review videos we have yet. Just keep that in mind, because her kit is so needlessly wordy, overly complex, when in actuality her actual gameplay isn't going to be too crazy, especially from what you've seen in the combat showcases so far. But on the notice showcases, Aemeath is also releasing with a combat showcase of her own. And so we're going to get started off with that one, then we'll get into her kit. Go ahead and see if there have been any new updates made, but most of us should be familiar with her kit by now. We're mostly watching this for the additional aesthetics. And Kuro Games typically always delivers with these. So let's go ahead, let's see what this one is all about, and give our takes on the animation quality. And the story, too. There might be a bit of story in here. Oh, okay, alright, she no-clips. That's a superpower for sure. Very retro-y, very gamey. I wonder if she's good at games.
Let's go save the world!
Okay, that's hey, at least we know what she's all about.
Propulsion mode.
I wonder if the robot has their own personality. It kind of seems like they do.
Ready to launch. Pierce through.
Yeah,
The world is mine to guard.
Is she the robot? You think it emulates her? Maybe, yeah. Okay, alright. Yeah, they're showcasing all of those special Switch animations she has. And her 4 ultimates. Alright, alright. This is the most hype part, guys. This is the real reason why we're here. It's to see the Tacit Mark transition. How are they gonna do the whole Tacit Mark reveal right before her actual ultimate? Let's see it. Okay, they're doing like a little bit like Beat Saber or something. That's kind of like what it looks like. Bro, is she a CPU? Oh my gosh. Wait, they didn't even show a Tacit Mark. They just showed her heart. Oh, okay. That was unique for sure. Alrighty. Just another day at Star Torch Academy, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I know they showed it. I'm saying it's the one inside of her heart. Because, like, the Tacit Mark is inside of her heart. I actually expected to see, like, more of the Tacit Mark and, like, a zoom in on the heart, but it was mainly the heart. Okay, you guys.
Hey, this is not extra spicy.
Is she stealing people's food?
It's been Chili Town for a whole week. Gotta balance it out with something healthy.
She's literally going ahead and, like, sabotaging her friends' meals. Like, imagine having a, like, unwanted nutritionist, like, adjusting all of your food. I don't know. She seems more like a villain than a hero to me. Anyways, that's gonna be the Aemeath combat showcase. We're gonna, like, naturally, it was a pretty solid one. We can see that she's, like, a very caring person. Excited to see what's gonna be in her actual, Resonator showcase itself. And just to, like, hit on that last note, yes, guys, I know the Tacit Mark is her heart. I'm saying, like, I expected, like, the Tacit Mark to be the one in here, because that's how it shows, and then we zoom in on that. This one, it's like, it kind of looks like one, it kind of doesn't. Right? Like, I kind of wanted to see the one on her heart get zoomed in on. That's what I would have liked more. That's just a personal taste thing. I don't think it particularly matters. But yeah, just comparing it to some of the other ones I've seen before, I think like Chuyan and Yuno's were better. Anyways, that's going to be her combat showcase. Now it's time. Oh, they also got her weapon too, but that's going to be for another video. We might reference it a couple of times in the actual kit, but now it's time for the actual kit reveal. So let's go ahead. Let's start diving right on into this. And like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a bit of a long one, because Kuro Games might have messed up in the skill description department over here. Aemeath, the synchronist of the Exostrider from Raybell College. That was me back when I was alive. Crazy. That's a crazy that's a crazy thing to say. I'm glad she's in a good mood. Aemeath is going to be a fusion sword user. And, well, You will see some minor details about her weapon later, but it'll make sense why she's one of those. Her ascension materials are going to be our choice, which is naturally, as you can imagine, going to be one of the new bosses. It's the astronaut guy. She's also going to be using Moss Amber, a new ascension material, so get ready for 3.1. And then for her upgrade match, she's going to be using a polarizer, the Exostorm Core, and Golden Memory. You can probably guess that's the new weekly boss, and that is one of the existing new mats that's in Lahai right now. So the only things you can actually farm over here will be the Exoswarm Cores and the polarizers. Everything else, you're kind of cooked. Moss Ambers should be the hardest thing to get, though, because the rest of these should have early access. Now let's take a look at our combat roles, and this is where things are going to look a little bit crazy. Main damage dealer, Liberation, makes sense because she has like 2 of them, Tune Rupture Response, Fusion Burst, and Damage Amplification. So, when you look at Tune Rupture Response and Fusion Burst, I've taken a look at her kit ahead, just because it released like 12 hours ago. These are mutually exclusive. Aemeath is going to be one of the first characters in the game that actually has like 2 real teams. Unfortunately, one of those teams is not going to be complete. Basically, she has a Fusion Burst specialization. That means that she's going to have a team with Chisa and an unreleased Fusion Burst support. And she's also going to have the team with Lene and, well, obviously, Lene and Mornier. Because Lene has that nice Liberation. Well, she obviously has all the Tune Rupture synergy and stuff like that too. But she's also going to have that outro skill that buffs Liberation damage. So, as you can see, Aemeath has like one pretty clear best in slot ready to go right off the bat. But the Fusion Burst team is naturally going to be a bit behind because you still need that third teammate. We'll dive into more of the specifics of that later on, but just do keep in mind, Chisa will have some use, but not her full use still. It's been close to like 3 versions by now, but it is what it is. Maybe she'll get her second team in 3.2. Anyways, let's go ahead and keep moving on and get into the actual kit overview. So, Kuro Games is going to split up these kits in a simplified version and a complex version. Reviewing the simplified version first, and let's see what it's all about. So, her normal attack over here. First one's just going to be a basic attack chain. Doesn't seem to have any additional effects. But she is going to also have a special heavy attack. Deal fusion damage, hold the normal attack button to charge the attack, dealing increased fusion damage, and the skill is going to be considered liberation damage. As you can probably guess, you're actually going to be weaving in these heavy attacks in her rotation pretty consistently. And she's going to have like that sort of like charge mechanic built in that is going to allow her to convert that damage type to liberation damage. And you'll see it's going to be available in both forms. Now let's keep moving on and look at the resonant skill, talking about both forms. Shared Voyage. The first use of it is going to be a form switch. She can freely switch between herself and her mech, and the mech just has her stats and different attacks. So you can see over here, that's like kind of just how these guys work. They have very, very, very free form switching, and of course special attacks that can be used when they use the form switch after various parts of their basic attack chain. So you can see that they have like some cool built-in like sort of like synergy with other moves in their kit, and that allows them to like transition their attack chain. Do you see what I mean? They do a couple attacks in the base form and then switch over to the mech form and then finish the attack chain over there. And you can do the opposite too. Do a couple attacks in mech form and then switch back to resonator form. Blah, blah, blah. As you can see, a lot of room for creativity here. And when you see that this heavy attack is also something that you might actually use, you're probably seeing where her rotations can get very interesting. Now, we got her Liberation, and we all know about this one, right? It's the one that has the 2 casts. One where she just, you know, the mech does a bit of a drop down, and then obviously the second cast where you summon big ol' Exo Strider to, well, let's just be real here, completely fuck up your enemies, because I don't think anything is surviving. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyways, Towards the Daybreak. First cast. Deal fusion damage and switch to the mech form after casting this and unlock the second use, the finisher. Casting this skill sends Aemeath into the enhanced sync attack boost state. Think of it like a burst mode. And when the Resonance Liberation finisher is unlocked and the rate reaches the limit, enter the heavy attack boost state. And in this state, heavy attack charges faster and recovers synchronization rate to the max. Do you kind of see what's going on over here? She has those delayed charge heavy attacks that we just mentioned before over here in that normal attack, right? And then after she uses her liberation, she starts increasing her sync rate and is able to use those attacks faster. Assuming, right, that she has all the energy and she's done to build up all of that. Burst mode, plus it has like the finisher attack. Very cool. I think it's a kit that most people are going to look at this and be like, this sounds badass. So let's read a little bit more about that enhanced sync attack boost, right? That's the special buff state that she gets. The next two enhanced sync attacks grant the following effects. While in Toon Rupture mode, this allows Aemeath to deal multiple instances of Toon Rupture damage. And when in Fusion Burst mode, the damage multiplier Fusion Burst triggered by her enhanced sync attacks is additionally increased against the main target. So you can clearly see over here, that's what I meant by those two types. She literally has resonance mode switching, literally like Linnea, where Linnea has, well, she's got a Toon Strain form, a Toon Rupture form. Aemeath's just going to have Toon Rupture and then Fusion Burst. And think about it this way. Well, I mean, honestly, you're kind of getting two characters for the price of one, aren't you? Most people could reasonably view this as you're literally getting two characters for the price of one, which is kind of like, that's just kind of like predatory. Yeah, because then you're going to feel influenced to build her second team when you don't need it. You're right. Yeah, you're going to feel influenced to build her second team. Isn't that super predatory, guys? Basically, my viewpoint on this is I'm very happy that this is part of her design. I actually called this when she was in the middle of development, before any betas, before anything even came out. I said, I hope this is the first character that has two types, or two main ways to deal damage. And the fact that that's literally what's happened over here, and guys, remember, this is before any of her leaks came out. Like, fuck it, this was when all we had was the transfer student cinematic, right? It was when we only had that one. And so I'm very happy that this is happening. I'm just hoping that when the Fusion Burst team comes out, it's not too wild. Last thing that I'll say over here is that the sync strikes that are activating these effects, do keep in mind that's when you're actively switching during her liberation with her skill. So even when you like trigger this and gain the buff, you're incentivized to constantly switch between mech and resonator form because, well, those two attacks switching back and forth, well, that's how you get these effects actually happening. So, yeah, you have to switch. It's incentivized, so you play both the mech and the resonator. HSR could never. Anyways, Resonance Liberation Finisher. When both the synchronization rate and the resonance rate reach the limit, Resonance Liberation Finisher becomes available, dealing massive fusion damage and switching back to Aemeath. So, yeah, you can guess what's going on over here. You unlock the burst mode, and then you do the attacks that will, well, increase your resonance rate, and then you'll then have the finisher, and then you blow those motherfuckers up. Very simple so far, right? You might be like, oh, Saint, what are you talking about over here saying that this kit is like complex or like crazy or anything like that, right? It seems easy to understand. Yeah, you forgot this, didn't you, bitch? Yeah, bitch, you forgot this was in here, didn't you? Get ready. Synchronization rate. Recover synchronization rate when specific skills deal damage or Aemeath uses her intro skill or her liberation. And when casting basic attack stage 4, if synchronization rate is higher than 100, or 100 or above, no less than, what kind of wording is that, brother? The enhanced sync attack is unlocked. So once you have over 100 points, there you go. In resonance mode, Toon Rupture, when resonators in the team respond to Toon Rupture interfered, inflict Rupturous Trail. And in resonance mode, Fusion Burst, when resonators in the team inflict Fusion Burst, get Fusion Trail. So you're seeing over here, she basically just gets two different types of additional effects on the enemies, depending on which form she's in. And now we got the enhanced sync attack. This one's going to deal fusion damage. It's considered liberation damage. And so when you're in resonance mode, the Toon Rupture, you deal more instances of the Toon Rupture damage each time on a random target. And that damage increases with the number of stacks of Rupturous Trail. So you're seeing what's going on here. You want, on the Toon Rupture team with her, you want as many characters that can respond to Toon Rupture as possible. So that means that having Linnea, who responds to Toon Rupture, you can just see on their forte if they have a Toon Rupture response, that's going to be good, right? That gives her another stack of the Rupturous Trail. Then you can have Mortier over here. What does she do? Well, she also responds with her own, so you're going to get that second stack of Rupturous Trail. And of course, right, I think Aemeath gives herself her own stack too, because she also applies to, you get what's going on. Same exact situation with Fusion Trail, except I've also seen the more detailed overview. You don't need as many teammates. You only need one other teammate who applies Fusion Burst, because Chisa can't do that. So you get what's going on. So yeah, that's what it's technically easier to activate this one. That's how the enhanced sync attack works, right? However, the Fusion Burst version is a bit different than the Rupture one. When in Resonance mode Fusion Burst, trigger Fusion Burst based on the max stack limit of Fusion Burst without removing its stacks. The damage multiplier against the main target is increased based on the stacks of Fusion Trail on them. So, this is why Chisa's actually best in slot on her team. Because basically, Fusion Burst usually triggers when the stack limit reaches its cap. Chisa increases the stack limit, so you might think, oh, Chisa's gonna make it take too long to trigger the bursts. But Aemeath just deals the full burst damage at max stacks. So having Chisa in the team to increase the max stacks is just a massive DPS increase. Do you see what's going on? That's how they have made it so that Chisa actually is good for this unit. In all honesty, it's more so the fact that the units have to work around Chisa. That's what it seems like, but it seems to have been done well here. I don't see an issue with this implementation. And once we get the Fusion Burst sub DPS, their Echo set is already in the game, by the way. Just so you know, the Fusion Burst sub DPS, their Echo set is going to be in the game next patch. Obviously, they're not in the game, but think of it as this is going to be Aemeath's third teammate. It's going to happen. Who knows when, though. So, yeah. Chisa's also rerunning this patch, but you get what's going on here. You won't be able to fully build out the Fusion Burst team, but I bet it'll still be somewhat decent on release. And so, Resonance Rate. Enhanced Sync Attack and her Liberation recover the Resonance Rate. I'm pretty sure she gets like 2 of these Enhanced Sync Attacks. Pretty sure using her Liberation and the 2 Sync Attacks maxes out the rate. It would be pretty wild if it did it. So I'm like 90% sure that's how it works. We'll have to see. Now we got her intro skill. Overture of Departure. After casting this skill, the next Resonance Liberation additionally recovers Resonance Rate. So, as you can see over here, if you don't have an intro skill with her, your rotation is probably going to be fucked up. Like, fucked up so bad that, like, you can't even use her second ultimate. So, I am pretty sure, pretty confident, like, she's going to be like a 1-2-3 team. Not too much quick swapper stuff built in. We'll just have to see, though. But that's what this intro skill is telling me. So she might feel a little bit more static than you might think in gameplay. Outro skill. When casting this form, the following effects are triggered based off of the resonance mode Aemeath is in. So you're noticing a lot of her abilities seem to literally change their effects depending on what type of damage she's dealing. And I think that's great. That's what I literally mean by 2 characters for the price of 1. When casting this skill, the following... Yeah, so different resonance mode. In Tune Rupture, all resonators in the team except Aemeath gain all damage amp, and it's further increased for everybody who can inflict Tune Rupture shifting. This is one of the most useless outro skills in the game, though. You wanna know why? Because the team for Tune Rupture is full of characters that don't deal damage. You're giving damage amp to these guys. The reason why I don't think 3.0 has been that smashing of a success revenue-wise is because these 2 characters are so fucking boring. It's unreal. They, like, change nothing. You pull them, and then nothing changes on your roster. You guys know what I mean? It's not like you did anything too differently. It's not like the meta got shaken up. It's not like you're like, oh my lord, this is the greatest pull ever. You're kind of just like, oh, yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, that's neat, right? Oh, great, my Zhang Liao is doing slightly better. Not very exciting, right? That's because they don't deal any damage. So, a outro skill that specifically gives them all damage amp to teammates that don't do damage is like... You get what I'm talking about, right? You get what I'm talking about. They're not too particularly too exciting of units over here. On the other hand, the Fusion Burst one, all resonators in the team except Aemeath gain all damage amp. And the all damage amp effect further increases for everyone who inflicts Fusion Burst. And so, like I said before, you're only going to need the 1 teammate because Chisa can't do it. But you want to know who actually deals a decent amount of damage? Yeah, Chisa actually can deal a meaningful amount of damage in her rotation. So, like, she does way more than Mornier. And I'm pretty sure the Fusion sub DPS, right? I mean, look at what their set does. Then again, we also looked at Linnea's. But this set gives a Fusion damage bonus built in. So, looks like this team might benefit a lot more from the outro skill than the Mornier Linnea one. That's my personal take. But yeah, that's going to be our outro skill. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to get into the real meat of the overview over here. That's going to be the combat guide plus the actual detailed kit breakdown. And you're probably going to notice over here, yeah, well, oh, this is where it gets really complicated. We saw the simplified one, but there are a lot more details that are waiting to be seen. Let's just read this combat guide first. Get a bit of a summary of how our kit works, then go see the full details. Combat guide. Deals substantial liberation... Is that even... whatever. In Tune Rupture mode, deal more instances of Tune Rupture damage. This mode favors single target damage output. The more resonators with the ability to respond to Tune Rupture interfere there are in the team, the more damage Aemeath deals. While in Resonance mode Fusion Burst, Aemeath inflicts Fusion Burst. This mode unleashes Aemeath's area damage potential, which allows her to deal more damage. So, it looks like she has one team for Weewa and one team for TOA. The Rupture team, because of those random instances of Rupture damage, if there's only one target, all the instances go on them. I'm pretty sure it'll still clear Weewa, though. Like, just guys. You guys are saying this like you think it's Tune Rupture team is not going to clear Weewa. I think it's going to 100% clear. It's just the Fusion Burst team's going to be better in Weewa, and the Fusion Burst team's going to be worse in TOA. But they're both going to clear in both modes. I think this is just more so saying that, well, we fixed the issue with Cartithia, where Cartithia is like this TOA monster, and then Cartithia proceeds to suck big dick in whimpering ways. Bro, this character is so bad in Weewa, it's crazy. Let's just be real here. She's not good in whimpering ways. She's not strong. You gotta do some annoying fucking shit. And if you're saying she needs better tokens, if you're saying a character needs tokens to clear, that means they're not good. If you're saying they need tokens to clear, they're not good. And believe me when I say this right now, she's just not a good Weewa character. That is a fact. And if you're still trying to deny that, what are we doing here? Just recognize that that's part of her balancing. Part of her balancing as being the best TOA unit is that that team is not that great in whimpering ways. That's just a fact. And if you want to deny that because, like, I don't know why, it's just, hey, I want to pretend she's stronger than she is, go for it. I can clearly see over here that it looks like her Tune Rupture form might be a bit weaker in multi-target because of what's going on. We'll just have to see what the full difference between the teams look like when her Fusion Burst team is completed. But yeah, that's an interesting take from Kuro. I guess that's how they plan on balancing it, and we'll see if they follow through. Now, let's take a look at her skills. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is going to be a bit of a fun one. Let's take a look at her detailed kit overview. Her attack chain is going to be a 4-hit combo. My bad. I don't think we specified the number of attacks in the chain. I thought it was actually 3, but it is going to be 4. And now let's get into the heavy attack. This is where stuff's going to get a bit complicated. She has a special hold mechanic by consuming stamina. She has 2 stages of it, charged 1 and charged 2. So, the first one deals fusion damage, and the second one simply deals more fusion damage. And when she's in instant response, which I do believe is the special state from her liberation, she gets the ability to charge the attacks more quickly. And as you can see over here, the skill damage on charge 2 is considered liberation damage. This is kind of just like a bit of a breakdown of the increased charging speed that she gets when she activates her liberations buffs. So you probably want to activate her liberations buffs relatively quickly on. You get what's going on here. After using charged 2 or charged 1, you'll advance her basic attack chain. You can see over here, after using charged 1, she goes to the second stage, and after using charged 2, she goes to stage 3. That's just like some of the additional shortcuts she has in her kit. Helps the flow quite a bit. This is actually something that I feel like could be done in, I know it's an unrelated video, Arknight's Enfield. Imagine if there are some characters, right, who, or every character has like more abilities that let them get to their final strike faster. That'd be kind of cool. Just some food for thought, right? While we're here, because I mean that would kind of make the game a little bit more fun, right? If you could do that. Anyone who's done the combat. Mid-air attack. She can consume stamina to perform a plunge, dealing fusion damage. Press the normal attack button shortly after, again, to just advance her basic attack chain. You're probably never gonna fucking use this, so pretend this light is like not even there. And her dodge counter. She's going to basically perform the 3rd hit of her attack chain, have it deal more damage, and then advance to the 4th if you decide to attack afterwards. Nothing, I don't really think these are meant to be anything noteworthy in her kit. Just do keep that in mind. Shared Voyage. Like I mentioned before, she has the form switch. There's nothing too crazy about this. She basically will automatically do an attack, though, after the form switch if there are enemies in range. However, she also has Sync Strikes, right? And that is kind of like the cooler version of the form switch. If you use your Resonance skill after casting stage 2, 3, or 4 of her basic, her heavy attack, or her dodge counter, you can use Sync Strike. So this is where her dodge counter is, I guess, going to be pretty cool. Like, you get to dodge and then do the transformation. That's kind of badass, right? You'll switch into the mech form after casting this skill, and you can press the normal attack button afterwards to simply use the second hit of the mech's basic attack. Then you're going to have Call of Dawn. That's just the opposite version, where after using the mech's second, third, or fourth attack, their heavy or their dodge, you can just literally vice versa it. It's the same fucking ability. It's just one's resonator to mech, the other is mech to resonator. But the activation conditions are literally identical across the two of them. So I think that's pretty simple. So yeah, now you got the basic attacks in the mech, and you realize, oh, it's just also the same 4 attacks. Not literally the same 4 attacks, but it's pretty clear that they're trying to make the kits between the two somewhat identical so that you don't... I mean, imagine if the mech had a completely different moveset, where it was like a 3-hit attack chain, and then like you have to put in like different inputs to switch back. Maybe some people would like that. I think it would be overly complicated. So as you can see over here, the mech basically has the same exact abilities. I don't really want to cover them that much in depth, but as you can see over here, the activation conditions are pretty much exactly the same. They both have 4-hit attack chains, and they both have their heavy attack that can be charged up, and with instant response from their ultimate, it charges up faster and deals Resonance Liberation damage. I'm pretty sure they just put in dash mech after her regular version of the heavy attack for this. So if you understand the baseline heavy attack, you'll understand this one, because they're functionally identical. She has a charge. She has 2 stages of the charging. The charging can lead to other attacks, and she charges faster when she's in her liberation. It's a long kit, but hopefully not too hard to understand. Same thing with the mid-air attack, and same thing with the dodge counter. It can advance you to the 4th stage, or you can use it as a special shortcut to your sync. Now we got towards the Daybreak, her Resonance Liberation. The first cast is going to deal fusion damage, and you'll immediately switch into the mech form. It can also be used in mid-air or close to the ground. And using this skill is going to grant the following effects. Stardust Resonance for 30 seconds. Heavenfall Edict Unbound for 60 seconds. I do realize I saw the word Stardust, and I realized that the mech is basically her stand. So I do want to see at least maybe like, you know, JoJo's Stone Ocean, you know, just got finished, right? So maybe we can get a Stone Ocean reference in there. Maybe a Crusader or two. I don't know. It seems like if they don't, I feel like there's going to be a problem, because they use the word Stardust. They use the word Stardust, and it's like a stand. So it better happen. Anyways, it's also going to have Heavenfall Edict Unbound for 60 seconds, too. They already have JoJo references, you're right. The Kelpie is, without a doubt, an actual JoJo reference. And the way that I can confirm that for you is, obviously, that's the Echo skill. But you could also, like, summon the guys. Oh, there you go. Boom! Look at that shit! They just got those... They got that shit in the game. So, yeah, 2 buffs that apply. One that lasts 30 seconds, the other lasts 60. And she can use the normal attack right after using her Liberation the first cast to simply use the second hit of the mech's basic. And if you use a Resonance skill or the form switch, which is the Resonance skill, right after casting it, you'll go into Aemeath stage 2. And you'll see what Seraphic Duet is. The next one, within 30 seconds, doesn't actually consume her Rupturous Trail or her Fusion Trail. You're probably a little bit confused as to, like, all the different fucking words we just saw. That's because that's going to be expanded more in her Forte Circuit. So, let's first see Stardust Resonance. Enhance the effect of Seraphic Duet. Okay, you're probably wondering, okay, what the fuck is Seraphic Duet? So this is where we're actually going to skip ahead to her Forte Circuit, because there's no fucking way for us to understand any of her Liberation's effects unless we actually know what's in her Forte Circuit. Because you're seeing here that you need to max out all these different things that are explained down here. So, in all honesty, the Forte should be first, and then the Liberation should be last, at least in this kit. Because if you try to read it in the opposite way, guys, if you try to read it in the way that the devs have set it up here, you will confuse the fuck out of yourself. So that's why we're taking it this direction instead. So, let's find out what all of those keywords actually fucking mean. Seraphic Duo. When casting Basic Attack Stage 4 or Basic Attack Stage 4 Mech, after completing the attack chain, you can see completing her attack chain is very important. You enter Seraphic Duo for 5 seconds. And so, when she's in Seraphic Duo and the synchronization rate is higher or equal to 100, that's when she starts using special sync attacks. These are the enhanced sync attacks that were talked about before. And those are the ones that inflict the Rupturous Trail or the Fusion Trail, right? And how does she gain access to those enhanced attacks? Well, it's from doing the 4th hit in either mech form or Aemeath form. And so as you can see over here, this is going to, when you use it, you'll deal liberation damage and you'll switch into the mech form after casting the ability and exit the Seraphic Duo state. And press the normal attack button within a certain amount of time to cast basic attack stage 2 of the mech. And then when you're in mech form, well, you have the similar sort of attack. And so if there was a way for me to break down where exactly this is going on, it's this part.
Go! Ready to launch.
That's one of our attacks over here. And you know that one, right, where she does this?
Mind guard. Objective logged.
Those are your sync attacks, your enhanced ones. And those are like the cinematic ones, right, that we're talking about. Those are the ones that seem like cutscene-y. That is Seraphic Duo enhanced sync attacks. Does that make sense? So clearly you still got to build up the synchronization rate to actually do them. You can probably see what's going on here. When in Resonance mode, Tune Rupture, when Resonators in the team respond to Tune Rupture Interfere, she's going to inflict 10 stacks of that Rupturous Trail on the target for 30 seconds and stacks up to 30 times. And when in Fusion Burst, she just does Fusion Trail, right? So you can kind of see what's going on. These stacks all kind of like build up from your other teammates based off the Resonance form that she's in. And you can see over here for the Fusion Burst specifically, once they hit 5 stacks, it detonates it based on their max stack limit. The baseline stack limit is 10. It goes to 13 with Chisa. So yeah, you can see why Chisa's strong with her. Not too confusing. I think it's pretty clear what's happening over here. You basically build up this passive effect when the other teammates apply Rupture, respond to it, or Fusion Burst, depending on which mode she's in. When in Resonance mode, Tune Rupture, Tune Rupture or Fusion Burst inflict either of these debuffs when the following skills deal damage. The same ability can also only trigger once every 3 seconds. So when she does basic attack stage 3 and 4, in her mech form or her resonator form, she applies Tune Rupture Shifting or a stack of Fusion Burst, depending on the mode she's in. When she uses Resonance Skill Sync Strike or Resonance Skill Sync Strike Call of Dawn, remember, these are her switch skills, her baseline switch skills, those will also apply Tune Rupture or, as you can guess, Fusion Burst. Her intro skill will also do it, and she has 2 different intro skills depending on if she's in mech or resonator form. So you can see that she's got quite a few abilities that apply it. It should be relatively easy for her to apply because she's constantly switching back and forth. Just know that she applies both debuffs and, well, only one of them at a time. It depends on which mode she's in. So that's why she's 2 characters built in one. Hopefully that's clear. But as you can see, there's a reason why I said this is one of the longest kits in the game. Because right now it's like just words. You don't see any headers. We're explaining just her resonance mode. Now we got enhancements to the Seraphic Duet we talked about over here. Remember, guys, she enters this special state after she uses the 4th stage of either basic attack. And she needs to be in duo and have a synchronization rate over 100 points to be able to use these special attacks. And so these are the effects of those Seraphic Duo attacks. In Tune Rupture, using this Seraphic Duet attack is going to additionally deal 5 instances of Tune Rupture damage, each time on a random target within range. Makes sense why it's better in single target. The target's off-tune level does not affect these instances of Tune Rupture damage. So Mornier's buffs don't actually do anything, because she'll just help you build up the regular 2 breaks faster. When Seraphic Duet deals damage, remove the target's Rupturous Trail and increase the damage multiplier of Tune Rupture based on the number of stacks removed. Each stack increasing the damage multiplier by 4% for 2.5 seconds. Basically, the more Tune Rupture inflictors or responders she has on her team, the more damage the actual Tune Rupture detonation on these attacks is going to deal. And so that's actually why, like, those kind of like, you know, where she's like twinkling and stuff and like singing, those attacks might actually deal a fuck ton of damage because, well, she's detonating all of those Rupturous Trail stacks. You're probably beginning to see how this character might suck big ass in AoE. Or at least, you might see how this form is going to suck big ass in AoE, right? Are you guys starting to see it now? I think it's starting to make a bit more sense. So, yeah, very single target focused over here. Fusion Burst, on the other hand, when Resonance skill Seraphic Duet hits the target, if they are inflicted with Fusion Trail, remove the Fusion Trail stacks and trigger the Fusion Burst on the target based on its max stack limit without removing its stacks. Each stack of Fusion Trail removed increases the damage multiplier of the Fusion Burst on the main target by 10%. So yeah, basically, she builds up these different types of trails on the enemies as her teammates deal her rotation. And when she uses these Seraphic Duo attacks, she detonates those trails, and the more trails there are, the more damage your Rupture or your Burst does. And remember, when your teammates respond, right, or inflict either debuff, then they build up the trail. It's not, I don't personally think it's that. Let's think about it this way, guys. It's a bit like Blaze. Yeah, it's a bit like Zani's Blaze, but instead of Zani building up her Forte or Aemeath building up her Forte, it's like the enemies are building up their Forte. And when you have a full Forte bar on the enemy, right, full Blaze on the enemy, you can detonate it, and then it deals more damage. In a similar way, though, you'll have full access to Aemeath's kit, but your damage is going to be highly dependent on how many trails you have on them. And your trails can only be provided by your teammates in a realistic sense, right? Aemeath's going to be able to get some of her own, but clearly not to the level of full performance unless you're going to have some specialized teammates for her. So yeah, that's going to be how this mechanic works. And in all honesty, like I said before, guys, it's not too complicated, but because she's two characters built in one, it seems unnecessarily wordy. So hopefully you can understand what the differences are between these two by now. Stardust Resonance. When in Stardust Resonance, and remember, this is what she gets after using her Liberation. Resonance skill Seraphic Duet gains the following enhancements based on Aemeath's Resonance mode. When in Toon Rupture, using Seraphic Duet additionally deals 10 instances of Toon Rupture damage. So even without her teammates there helping to build up the trail, she still will get some instances there. And in Fusion Burst mode, the damage multiplier of Fusion Burst triggered by Seraphic Duet on the main target is additionally increased by 200%. And this multiplier increase effect is additionally stackable with the one provided by Fusion Trail. So yeah, even more damage effects basically when she has Stardust Resonance. Now let's quickly wrap up a little bit of this over here. Toon Rupture Response Star Burst. This is basically just the little burst of damage that you'll deal from off-field when a target with Toon Rupture on them is Toon Broken. Right? You just go ahead, you Toon Break them, and then you'll deal your burst of damage. And you can see every character that responds to it will have like this scaling based off a Toon Amp. I'm just pretty sure that's literally just what this ability is. So do keep that in mind. Now we're going to have Star Flux Thrust. This is when she flies. Yeah. So she apparently, I guess, has this thing called Star Flux, and you can use the utility button to use Star Flux whatever. This is like her flying form. I don't actually know how strong or good it is. We'll just have to see. Maybe it's actually pretty neat. Maybe it doesn't do anything. We'll just have to see. Synchronization rate. And this is, again, this is going to be like her main forte that's going to be used to use those enhanced sync attacks. And remember, those enhanced sync attacks are very, very, very important. That's going to be capped at 200. So she basically can build up 2 stacks of those enhanced sync attacks. Dealing damage with basically anything is going to build up her synchronization rate. Using her intro skill is going to build up synchronization rate. Using her liberation is going to build up synchronization rate. And when an instant response and Heavenfall Edict Unbound are available at the same time, casting her heavy attack, the second stage of charging, is just going to instantly give her 200. So you can kind of see what's going on over here. You kind of want to use that. You kind of want to use that heavy attack, and then proceed to get your full forte, and then start doing all of her very fancy attacks. Nothing too crazy over here, because remember, you charge faster, and you gain instant response from her ultimate. Another thing, we got resonance rate over here. Resonance rate is capped at 4 points. And remember, this is what you need to cast her second ultimate. Casting resonance skill Seraphic Duet recovers 1 point. Using her liberation gives 1 point. And when in Starloom Acceleration, using Heavenfall Edict Overdrive is also going to recover 1 point. And I believe Starloom Acceleration is just, what the fuck even is that? I don't even know what that is. What the hell is even this? Huh? What the fuck is that? I don't actually know what that is. We'll find it out later, but I guess you get like an additional recovery point if you're in Starloom Acceleration whatever that is. I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that in her kit yet. I guess we'll find that out later. We basically just got an overview, right, of synchronization rate, resonance rate, all her different resources and stuff like that. Got a little bit of her flying, and of course, how all of this seraphic duo shit works in her forte. That makes sense, right? Now let's finish off this liberation and actually figure out what the hell's going on over here. It's going to deal fusion damage, immediately switch you into mech form, can be used in midair or on the ground, and then it gives you the following effects. Stardust Resonance for 30 seconds, and then you enter Heavenfall Edict Unbound for 60. So, Stardust Resonance enhances the effect of Seraphic Duet. We know what Seraphic Duet does now. It's the special, like, intro, like cutscene animation attacks. Great. It's gonna buff the next 2 Seraphic Duets that you do. So you do one in mech form, and then you do one in human form. Heavenfall Edict Unbound, right? The one that lasts for 60 seconds. Heavenfall Edict Overdrive is going to be replaced with Heavenfall Edict Finale. This basically just gives her a timer of 60 seconds after using her ultimate to cast her second liberation. And when Unbound is available and resonance rate reaches the limit, enter Instant Response. And Instant Response is going to be removed when Heavenfall Edict Unbound ends. So think about it this way. Instant Response is linked to Heavenfall Edict Unbound. Instant Response is also going to be linked to your resonance rate. And remember how we build up the resonance rate, guys. Remember how we build it up here. Using Seraphic Duet is going to give you one. Using your Liberation is also going to give you one. So you can probably see what's going on over here. If you want to cap out at 4 points to use your Liberation, you're going to have to do, typically, both Seraphic Duets, use her Liberation, and then find a point from somewhere else. And probably her inherent skills will let us know where we get that 4th point from. But do keep in mind, you basically need 4. While Heavenfall Edict Unbound is ready, it's got a 60-second timer, and once you have 4, you enter Instant Response, and then, well, let's read this. Heavenfall Edict Finale, the big nuke, right? This ability over here that, like, we've all been super excited to see in-game ourselves, that ability is activated by having these conditions met. You have to be in the unbound state, your synchronization rate reaches the limit, your resonance rate reaches the limit, and casting this skill is going to deplete everything, deal fusion damage, and end all of her states and switch her back to Aemeath. You can probably see what's going on here, guys. You consume your synchronization rate, right? When you use Seraphic Duo. That's something that happens. But by the time you reach full resonance rate and you enter Instant Response, you have the ability to immediately regain all of your synchronization rate. So this is what's going to happen with this character. You're going to use her Liberation. You're going to get all this stuff ready. You're going to try to build up her resonance rate to 4, but you're going to use your synchronization rate to build up her resonance rate. And the reason for that is very, very, very simple. Because you need to consume your synchronization rate to use these Seraphic Duo attacks. However, when she's in Instant Response and Heavenfall Edict Unbound is active at the same time, using that heavy attack is just going to give her 200 points. So basically, you're going to first build up your resonance rate by consuming your synchronization rate, and once your resonance rate is full again, you'll use that heavy attack with her ultimate's buff to instantly go back to 200 and then deliver the bomb. Do you guys can see what's going on here? It's a little bit complicated because you got a lot of resources to manage. You're going to like use your synchronization rate to feed it into your resonance rate, but then your resonance rate is going to eventually feed into your synchronization rate with that buffed heavy attack in Instant Response. So Instant Response, once it triggers, that's the key to getting that second cast going because it's going to be the only way to really speed up that synchronization rate and get you back to 200 with that charged heavy. We're at 50 minutes, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I've explained this particularly well. I just think the kit is quite complicated, but hopefully you're beginning to see how the playstyle is beginning to form out. Now, let's wrap up, I guess, this part and start taking a look at some, well, her concerto abilities. Intro skill. Casting this skill enters Starloom Acceleration for 15 seconds. So, remember, guys, right? While in Starloom Liberation, casting your Liberation is going to give you an additional point of resonance rate. So you get 2 points if you cast it within 15 seconds of her intro skill. Most DPS rotations last 14, so you should always get 2. And then you're going to get your 2 other points from the 2 seraphic duets. So you see how her kit works together now, right? She receives an intro skill, gets this buff, uses her liberation, generates 2 resonance rate, right? Automatically because she has the buff, and then she's gonna do simply 2 seraphic duet attacks, max out the resonance rate at 4, then activate instant response because her resonance rate is full, right? That's how she gets instant response. Then she uses her heavy attack. And then maxes this out. And then that's it. Is that a lot more clear, guys? Is that a lot more clear now, ladies and gentlemen? Hopefully, it should be. The step that we're probably missing in there is her building up 200 points. But I think that's built into her basic attack, so you should be fine. Because you got to do, remember, right? Guys, she builds up synchronization rate doing basic attacks. And to use Seraphic Duet, she must use the 4th stage of her basic. So, Aemeath will naturally build up her synchronization rate when activating Seraphic Duo. So, because you need to get to the 4th stage, you'll simply just press E after getting to the 4th stage, and you should have built up enough synchronization rate getting to stage 4. You guys see what's going on here? It's not, I don't think this is actually that complicated, but we'll see what the comments section says. That's how she gets Starloom Acceleration. That's how it's going to speed up her kit. And you're going to press the normal attack button after casting this skill to cast Basic Attack Stage 3. Oh, kind of close to Stage 4, aren't you, buddy? So yeah, pressing Resonance Skill and casting the Resonance Skill form switch shortly after this to use Basic Attack Mech Stage 3. So you can decide if you want to be the mech, if you want to be the... You could be a Transformer, okay? It is what it is. You could decide what you want to be the second you swap in. In the mech form, Sarns Across the Universe is replaced by Debut of Meteoric Radiance. So basically, it's just the same fucking shit. You just got a different intro skill if you enter in on the mech form. Like, you get what? They're the same fucking ability. There's functionally no difference between the two. It's just one enters in mech form, the other enters in resonator form. Great. Starloom Acceleration. Like I said before, it just gives you an extra point of her resonance rate, which you really need if you use her liberation within 15 seconds of introing in, which you always will unless you're intentionally griefing your rotation. So, yeah. Basically, I think this is just like an anti-quick swap thing. Because realistically, using Heavenfall Edict could have just given her 2. You know what I mean? But she only gets 2 if she uses it after her intro skill. So I think this is like intentional design to not have her be a quick swapped character. That's all this kind of like is, because yes, her liberation could have just flat out given 2 without this effect at all. Just letting people know that that is a part of her design. If you are a quick swapper, dirty little quick swapper, go cry somewhere about that. I don't give a fuck. Outro skill, Silent Protection. When casting this skill, the following effects are triggered. Okay, so she basically gets 10% all damage amp, and then it goes to 20 if they inflict Tune Rupture Shifting. That's like, okay, I guess Linnea's gonna have 20, Mornier's gonna get 10. That's, might as well not have one. This is fucking useless. Fusion Burst, they gain 10% and 20. Okay, so I guess Chisa's gonna get 10, and her other teammate's gonna gain 20. I think that's, you know what, that's actually not that bad. Because it seems balanced to where the support only gets 10% damage amp, and the sub DPS gets 20. Because Mornier can't inflict Tune Rupture. She can't. She can only respond to it. So Mornier gets actually the same damage buff as Chisa here. Seems balanced to me. It's just seems like it's gonna be shit. Seems like it's gonna be dog ass. It seems like it's just gonna be useless because all the characters don't really deal that much damage in the first place. So it's like a cosmetic outro skill. At least it's there. Tomb Break. Unlanded Melody. Where the target's off to level is full, she can cast Tomb Break on the target. Oh, she seems to have a very unique Tomb Break attack, though, because her Tomb Break can chain into her basic. She might be one of the only characters with a Tomb Break that chains into their basic, so that seems to be the only thing noteworthy about her. Other than that, it's a typical Tomb Break attack, and she also can respond to Tomb Rupture, which is, we already knew that. Inherent skill! An instant response! Remember what I said before? You want to use that heavy attack and instant response? Yeah, heavy attack Aemeath and mech gain 200% damage amp. Yeah, you definitely need to use that fucking ability, bro. That's gonna deal a fuck ton of damage. Inherent skill between the stars. And remember, guys, you have to use this. Because you use the synchronization rate to get to instant response, and then your heavy attack after instant response gives you back all your synchronization rate, so that you can drop the Exostrider on them. Remember that, right? Inherent skill between the stars. In Resonance Mount Tune Rupture, when Resonators in the team inflict Tune Rupture Shifting or deal Tune Rupture damage, this is a big one, Aemeath's crit damage increases by 20% up to 3 times. 60% crit damage. With 3 stacks, Resonance Liberation, Heavenfall Edict Finale is amplified by 25%. And you can't, like, switch your team in the middle of it or it'll reset the effect. So basically, if you have a full team of Tune Rupture Inflictors or Dealers, basically Mornier and Linné, you'll get 60% crit damage and 25% damage amp on her final hit. In Fusion Burst mode, when Resonator using the team inflict Fusion Burst, her crit damage increases by 30. So, as you can see over here, clearly, you don't actually need as many Fusion Burst characters to get the same bonus, because you only need 2 stacks. And you get the same buffs at 2 stacks with Fusion Burst that you get at 3 stacks with Rupture. But ironically, you can't even max this out, even though the character limit is less, because, again, guys, I can't keep mentioning this enough. The Fusion Burst team is not going to be complete, but the Tune Rupture team will be. Because we still got this fucking Sonata set out there that needs a little bit of TLC, because I need a goddamn character that can use it. However, what we can look at as a bit of like a wrap-up after seeing that kit, well, doesn't seem like too much of an issue that Aemeath's only getting crit damage, right, boys? Doesn't seem like too much of an issue. She's only getting crit damage from her inherent because she gets crit rate from inflicting Fusion Burst or Tune Rupture Shifting. And guess what she does? Both of those things. Yep, she does both of those things with her kit. This unit, like I mentioned before, might be the highest value unit in the game just from the perspective of, well, I mean, you get to build 2 teams out of her. And depending on what you have and the ingredients that are available on your roster, you could get a lot from what she's providing. I think the last thing that we'll take a look at over here is just like a quick look at her weapon just to see the base stats. Okay, it's going to give crit rate 2. So again, with her set and this, her crit should be very, very, very high. And just a quick overview of the actual weapon effect itself. Let's just see here. All attribute damage bonus increase, and when inflicting Tune Rupture, Shifting, or Fusion Burst, she gains 32% defense ignore and 10% res ignore. Okay, I see here. She's got very low damage bonuses, but she has defense ignore throughout her kit. So this is going to be a very, very interesting character just to see like how her performance is, because her weapon is, well, it's got a very unique blend of stats. We're usually used to seeing more damage bonuses and stuff in there. This might be the weapon with the lowest raw damage bonuses in the game, but it has obviously very, 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 very impressive defensive stats. However, there are some other weapons we'll be taking a look at in comparison to this one in our more detailed weapon overview. Be on the lookout for that one in a couple of hours. But yeah, that's just a quick preview at the weapon. We'll have our full thoughts on it later, but it does look to be potentially very powerful. Summing up Aemeath right now and summing up this entire kit overview, she is needlessly complex because basically this thing is twice as long as it needs to be because her mech form basically is low-key the same thing as a resonator form. They all have the same attack chain. They all have the same inputs. They basically are like just cosmetically different units, but they should hypothetically play in a similar way because they have the same key presses needed to do all of their attacks. That's definitely going to limit the complexity and make it very easy for people to pick her up. But the end result is that her kit is like double the length that it actually needs to be because you don't actually need to read all this shit twice. You don't need to actually read all this shit twice for it to make that much sense. Because in all honesty, it's, hey, attack 4 times, get to that Seraphic Duo state, get the synchronization, and then do a force switch. In reality, she has a lot of different resources that like feed in and out of each other. And obviously, I just talked about doubling up on stuff because she has the mech form and her resonator form. What do you think about doubling up on the stuff because of Tune Rupture and the Fusion Burst? Functionally, these things work very similarly. Her teammates give the trail and then she detonates the trail with her kit and deals more damage the more trail they have. But you just have to have double the descriptions because one's for Fusion Burst and the other's for Tune Rupture. So overall, I don't actually think her kit is that crazy, but just from like a design perspective of visually looking at it, this thing is fucking ridiculous. And it is the most needlessly wordy kit we've probably ever seen in the history of the game. But this is also like the first character that they're trying to make that literally is 2 different types of units in one. So I can excuse a bit of a, you know, a little bit of a rough viewing experience on the first time they're trying to innovate with a design like this. I think that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, obviously I've already talked about a lot of the teams that she's going to be usable in. Cheese is going to have her time in the sun, but also don't forget how good Lupa's gonna be with her. Because Lupa Mornier, right? You might not have all your Toon Rupture goodness, but after you take a look at that weapon, wouldn't it be kind of nice to have some damage bonuses from her? Yeah, it'd be kind of nice to have some damage bonuses from Lupa when her weapon doesn't give any, right? Her weapon only gives, like, defense ignore and fusion, like, yeah, Lupa gives a lot of damage bonuses. So you might really like having her on your team. Just some food for thought as we head into version 3.1. But, yeah, that's going to be our kit overview for Aemeath. Hopefully, we've explained pretty much every single in and out of it, because this is one of the longest goddamn ones yet. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.